Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. My name is Matthew and today we're doing something a bit different than usual. As you can see, I have the movie of Godzilla vs. Kong right in front of me. Now, I'm doing this sort of breaking down the fights of GVK really in detail because I think I've gathered enough information about the fights themselves because, people really don't understand really what goes on in these fights. They just think that, oh, there's just two characters beating each other up, but it's more detailed than that. And I really want to take that detail and, flesh it out for you guys. So obviously, the footage I'm using is straight from the movie, but I do want to make mention that I do not own any of this footage from Godzilla vs. Kong. Everything is owned by legendary Warner Brothers and I guess Toho in that case, because Toho distributed in Japan. So we're going to just hop right on in. And as you can see, we have the first scene with Gia holding her Kong doll, which I hope companies that made that into a real figure. And so she senses that something is going on, puts her hand on the wall, and then she senses Godzilla, which, doesn't seem too out of character for her. She can probably sense a Titan from who knows how far away. So here she goes, running, and then I think that's where the "we need Kong" part is. So boom, the alarm goes off. So boom, tells her that Godzilla's on the way, and then this is when Kong is like getting really ticked off. He does not want to be in these chains anymore. So the humans start panicking. You got a 400-foot tall lizard headed straight for you, and then you got a 300-foot tall gorilla who's just pounding the crud out of your ship. Like, see that? One little tug can rock the entire boat. That's how tough this guy is. Well, to be fair, it's a boat. So Kong does not like the sound of that. All the missile firing. So Godzilla here is demonstrating his intelligence by, even though he can take these hits, he doesn't want to necessarily deal with them as he kind of finds them annoying. So he kind of goes under the water to avoid him. And then using his dorsal fins, just completely annihilates ship after ship. Kong is still getting really ticked off. And then he watches the planes just go from afar. And then boom, Godzilla sees the missiles. He notices them. And then he uses his tail, which you can directly see. There you go. He can just folds his tail like that, rolls underneath the water like a crocodile, just dragging everything underneath with him, including the parts of the boat. And then you can just see all the wreckage that Godzilla's having. Meanwhile, Kong is not having it at all. So he notices that the boat is being pulled. So this is when he realizes someone's here. He roars at them. Godzilla roars back. Kong doesn't exactly know who he's up against right now. Granted, he might know of Godzilla's existence, so he sees the boat being pulled, but this is the first time the two have met, necessarily like that. Kong roars down to the water and is met with a roar to the face, with Godzilla flipping his boat over. Everybody's now being submerged under the water, which is where Godzilla fights best. Kong here is now panicking. He gasps for air, and then boom, gets submerged under the water again. Now, Godzilla here is being met with a bunch of just explosions. They're almost about to drown. Godzilla goes back under the water to fight Kong again. So here we see that, oh crud, Kong is still in chains. I'm gonna go try and free him. So he swims under the water. And then Godzilla here, he's acting like a shark. He's acting like Bruce from Jaws. He's like, dun, 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 dun. So here we have one of the coolest camera transitions, and Kong is freed, and then, boom, met to the gut with Godzilla right at his chest. He just gets body slammed right by a 100,000 ton kaiju under the water. And if you look really closely, you can actually kind of see blood being drawn right there from Godzilla biting Kong's finger. I can't tell if that was his thumb. But then, here we have Kong absolutely terrified. This is the first time that he's seen Godzilla up this close. And basically, Godzilla's motive is that he is trying to kill Kong, but he's trying to kill Kong in a more playful manner. Kong himself is completely screwed. He is under the water. He is trying to hold back Godzilla, which Godzilla's kind of not really trying in this. He's not really putting up his full strength because he's just playing with him. So Kong headbutts Godzilla and just kind of dunks him to the side. And then Kong seeks refuge on his boat again. And as you can see, he coughs up, just coughing up water. Everyone's just trying to get regain their footing after being submerged in the water for like a few minutes. So Kong himself, in a really cool camera angle, grabs his, I would guess, neck chain, breaks it off, and then just starts screaming now. Now Kong's adrenaline is really high in this scene, as you can probably tell because of the way he's acting. So he notices Godzilla, but he looks to his left, and there's the aircraft carrier, so he thinks that, okay, if I step here, this will be a better platform for me to defend myself because it's bigger and more stable, and you possibly can't flip it over. So he jumps from ship to ship, possibly killing people inside the ship, and then, boom, steps on the aircraft carrier, where it's shown that, okay, a bunch of jets are just kind of flying to the side. He roars at one of the jets, and then, boom, the aircraft carrier comes down after Kong kind of regains his footing a bit. So Kong roars at Godzilla, trying to deter him, but nope, Godzilla ain't having any of that. He ain't scared, but Kong probably is. So he picks up a jet, hoping to maybe deter him, maybe blow him up. This is like his intelligence going to use here. He's trying to find different ways of like deterring Godzilla, using chest pounding, using like all his sort of maneuvers, using tools. And then Godzilla doesn't really seem to be affected by it, as he later jumps on board, roars at Kong, and then Kong immediately comes in for a punch to the face. Now, important notes to think about here. Godzilla himself is much heavier and more dense than Kong is. And because of the way he was standing, because if we go back to the way he was standing there, because if we take a look at that, right here, Kong himself only really has 1 foot on the ground. This toe, even though it's covered by smoke, is definitely off the ground because we can definitely see that his foot is all the way over here, and there's no way that his lower part of the foot would be all the way to just stand flat like right here, if that makes any sense. Godzilla here is in his sumo wrestling pose, so has his tail all the way folded like that, so that acts as a full way of, like a third limb. And he has 1 foot like this with his knee bent, and then he has this foot kind of standing neutrally, although this part of his leg is really bent. So he's putting as much weight to the ground as possible, while Kong himself is really unstable because of his one leg that's right now touching the ground. So that's why he takes the punch and doesn't really do anything. It just kind of sends him back just a tad bit. Kong collapses to the ground and goes on all fours like he usually does. And then, boom, Godzilla comes in for a smack, sending Kong all the way, just boom, just sending him backwards. And then, right at that moment, he tumbles onto the opposite side of the aircraft carrier, where Godzilla regains his proper footing, necessarily to blast him with an atomic breath, but is met with more annoyance thanks to the various ships that are constantly targeting him. And in another cool camera angle, Kong punches Godzilla, who was probably trying to like lean on him, trying to bite him or something. So he retaliates with a punch, and then he body checks Godzilla after he stunned him for like a few seconds, knocking him off board. So Godzilla's like, huh, okay, you think you're, you know, you're the superior one here. Well, I'll show you who's superior. So then Kong realizes, okay, that's that blue glow I remember in the cave. I gotta get out of here. And so Godzilla blasts the atomic breath straight through the aircraft carrier in a really neat shot where Kong's just like, oh my gosh, I gotta get away. And then, boom, there goes the aircraft carrier. The only remaining platform that Kong can jump because he already eliminated the remaining ships that were around the aircraft carrier. So he's no place to go. And had he stayed on, he would have been fried. That is one powerful heat ray to not only survive the water, which extinguishes fire, and I know it's radiation, but like you get it, and cut through an aircraft carrier like a knife through butter. Kong would have been fried. He would have been fried like a kebab. You stick something through a marshmallow and then you cook it on like a campfire. That's probably what would have happened. Kong being the marshmallow in that situation. So he plunges back into the water. The humans just look in disbelief as to what's happening. Gia looks the most shocked. So Kong himself, you know, it's kind of hard to see, but he's like looking for a way back up, you know. He's trying to look for something that he himself can quickly reach. And then he's trying to think of something when, boom, he's met right back to the neck and the face by Godzilla, who just grabbed him like that and is starting to ragdoll him in the water. You know, he's trying to grapple him. Kong looks like he bites Godzilla right around the neck to chest region, which Godzilla kind of like claws him away. And then you see the wreckage of the aircraft carrier. And then Kong himself does kind of gain the upper hand. Like, not real upper hand, like, you know, he's kind of above Godzilla in this scene, where he kind of like takes Godzilla, puts him to this angle, and then proceeds to kick him right in the face, stunning Godzilla just a teensy bit, but kind of like pushing him back. So Kong at this point is trying to, you know, swim up for air, and then boom, is met even more to the gut. But this time Godzilla's objective is like, okay, you know what? I had my fun for this round. Let's call it quits by literally dragging you like a snake to the bottom of the ocean where you will not survive. Because he knows Kong's species. He knows them well. He's been on this earth for millions of years, potentially billions. So he knows every single species there has been on Earth very well. So he knows Kong already. Like, he knows his ancestors. He knows, like, how to... So he himself already knows how to beat this guy. So he just drags him down. Kong himself at this point is left with no other option without than just to resort to plot armor, I guess. So the humans send in these, forget the name of them, Depth Sergeants, there we go. So they blow up while Kong here is showing like he's trying to get out of there. He's really trying to wiggle his way down, but Godzilla's just the stronger one and the heavier one of the two. So Kong himself starts trying to almost, okay, he doesn't try to drown. He almost drowns, but then boom, the plotter, Depth Sergeants, they free him. They wonder in curiosity, and then Kong grabs onto the boat that he was once kept on. Another hand, Kong just vomits up the water, probably like a fish or two, and he just rolls over in exhaustion. So at this point, Kong is just purely exhausted. He does not want to fight anymore. Meanwhile, Godzilla comes up to look at the wreckage, look at Kong. Kong looks at him. And so they're going to try to turn off all their machinery to really, like, confuse Godzilla, almost. Well, not really to confuse him, to make him think that he's won. So they turn all their machinery off. All the power's cut. and they stop moving. And then here we have an amazing scene, amazing CGI, amazing camera angle of Godzilla rising out of the water, looking evilish. The two make eye contact. One's like, look at him, he's just straight up laughing. Godzilla in this scene is just having a lot of fun. He is laughing at Kong's pain right now. The fact that Kong almost just drowned makes him laugh. You know, it's like a chilled, laid-back fight for Godzilla, but for Kong, this is the fight of his life. He does not know what he's in for. Godzilla knows what he's in for, at least in this round. So he's like, okay, you know what? You just stay right there. We're good. Just don't try to be a nuisance to me. And then he just turns over and just swims away. And that wraps up this round for Godzilla vs. Kong, with Kong almost dead on the aircraft carrier, well, not really an aircraft carrier, on his boat, and Godzilla saying, alright, you know what, I've had my fun, I defeated you. There you go, Godzilla is the winner of round 1. I hope you guys enjoyed this little, like, exclamation, battle in-depth video. If you guys liked it, definitely subscribe to the channel, because I'm going to be doing 2 more, the other fights, and hopefully the other movies fights as well. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Peace, everyone.